Welcome to Talk Theory. It's your host, Kiara Barnes, where I talk all things life, what makes us human, and what makes us superhuman. Sit back, relax, and join me for a chat. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talk Theory. Glad to be with y'all again. Friendly reminder, per usual, Fantasy Island airs tonight on Fox, 8/7 Central, and then we will air next day on Hulu, so make sure you're staying up to date with us. I believe we're on our 6th episode, which is very exciting. So just stay in tune for that. By the way, I know last week I attempted to do video, but let me be real with y'all. Essentially what happened was, that setup was a little more complex. I basically record all in my office space, but my office space duels as, where I do my self-tapes and auditions and kind of a guest room. So I, was trying to make it cute and comfy, and I basically had to move like a lot of my studio stuff, like the podcast, all that stuff, the mics and setup. And I tried to put it in my room because it just looks better than the office space. And it's just complicated to always be moving the mic setup and everything. So manifesting that I will find a new place, and I'm just going to have like a dedicated room for the podcast. That way I can like build in a set and everything for that podcast, and then also have like a dedicated room for my self-tapes and any office work, and then have the guest room separate. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to mix it all in one kind of thing. So manifesting that, and I will keep you posted when that happens. But for now, we're going to keep it simple. You know me, y'all. I'm on the, path of least resistance, and just doing what is feasible. So yeah, I don't know. I might still upload that video somewhere. I am working on a YouTube channel, getting some stuff set up so I can at least like do vlogs and things. So I'll keep you updated. I'm still a little shy about it, but eventually I'll start uploading on there. I'm kind of doing that on TikTok right now. TikTok's kind of my like go-to place, which is official Kiara Barnes on TikTok, so you can find me there. But I'm kind of using that as my starter for vlogs and things. All right. Anywho, thanks for coming back to have another listen and chat with me. So, a movie has recently sparked a new way of thought. And so I kind of want to get into that on today's episode. The movie I'm referring to is Dune. All right. And I know that it got a bunch of like crap because there's a lot of pretty people in there, and it seems like it's all very whispery, and it's down here, and it's like this, and this is how everyone talks. Yes. But honestly, I had to watch it a few times to get it in a way, because I had never read the books or anything before now. I've watched the movie 4 times now. I haven't watched a movie more than twice or 3 times since the Twilight saga. I went and saw Twilight, I'm not kidding you, 13 times. Like I actually collected the ticket stubs. They're somewhere in my family house because I was like so in love with that movie. I would just go all the time with my friends, my cousin, anyone that wanted to go see it. We would go see it. We'd do like party showings to go see it. Yes, I was a Twilight fan. Anyway, the initial watch of Dune, I was just Honestly, I was taken aback by the imagery. It was just shot so beautifully that I couldn't even fully follow along with the story. Um, I have a little bit of a ADHD, so I I get distracted. Okay, so when I saw it the second time, I was really able to catch just a little bit more. But then the third and fourth time, it really, really hit me. And I was like, dang, like this movie is super deep and also super spiritual. Um, which I find actually most sci-fi things have an undertone of spirituality. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I actually do like the genre of sci-fi for that reason. But for me, Dune was all really about breaking through your fears, trusting yourself, and your inner sense of knowing for guidance. And there's two particular scenes for me that stood out. So there's characters and stuff. There's Paul Atreides, who's the Duke's son, and he's like in next to line after his father, or next in line to rule after his father. And then of course there's the Duke, and then his mother, Lady Jessica, is a Bene Gesserit, I believe. I'm just starting to learn this stuff because I just got on the book, but and basically what a Bene Gesserit is she's just master of mind and body. She uses her voice or the voice to be able to command action. And it essentially just puts someone in a dreamlike state where they have to do whatever the voice tells them to do, which we'll get into that in a little bit because that in itself is like super, super deep. But just like giving you some, context if you've never seen the movie or read the books. And now I might be giving up some I'm saying light spoilers, just an FYI. I'm saying light because it's not going to spoil anything. I promise, really, truly. But I found it interesting the way the film discusses fear. And there's this particular moment where Paul is asked to have a meeting with someone in power. And there's just a lot of fear around the fact that he may, not come out of that meeting alive. And his mother's just standing outside the doors where it's happening. And you see that she's super visibly upset and scared. And, she's kind of feeding into the fear. And then all of a sudden she stops herself and starts repeating this mantra. And I didn't catch it the first few times, to be honest. But then I heard it the last time I watched it. And I was like, what did she say? So I went to go double check what the mantra was, and this is what she was saying. She said, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing, only I will remain. And this is what I was talking about, the voice earlier and doing the English accent, because in the movie, the first two times you're watching, you're like, what the heck? I must not fear, feels the mind killer, feels the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. It's very much that. It's in the tone of exactly what I'm talking about, those kind of movies, those dramas where everyone's whispering and everyone's English and it has to be down here and there's so much fear. Anyway, so breaking this down, right? Let's get focused. Breaking this down. So fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. Meaning, even in its smallness, it can completely shift a timeline based off of your own belief. Shift a timeline. But then it says, I will permit it to pass over me and through me. So that means letting that fear go, right? Letting the fear, I'm permitting it to go through me and over me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Now, my dad had broke this part down for me, and he was saying the inner eye is referring to the third eye, meaning your deeper knowing self, your deeper knowing self that will be able to see the mirage of fear, the facade of fear. And the last bit that it says, where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain, aka the mirage, the facade. Right? When you look, it's just you there. Oh, it was never there. It's kind of like my dad used to tell me about this time when he took a film class, and they did a whole chapter of learning on the power of music within movies and scoring, and how that can shift a tone and permit some kind of reaction from the viewer. And they were talking about this with scary movies, how if you take out the scary music, it's not as stimulating within fear for you. Whereas when you add a certain score that has frequencies of melodies that might get your heart rate up, then all of a sudden the scene is a lot more scary. And even if nothing might even happen in some of these scary scenes, but your nervous reaction is being stimulated from sound. So it's kind of like that, of like we play this scary score in our head of, oh, it's going to be this and this. And as soon as we go, hold on, why would I think that? And we kind of break it down and we release that fear, and we look back and it's like, oh, nothing was even happening. So when I looked that up, what she was saying, the mantra, it really did blow my mind. And I thought that was a very, very powerful mantra. The second scene that stood out to me was Lady Jessica and Paul. They're finding them, both of them. They're in a scenario where there is a lot presenting as fear, and trying to control the outcome. And in this particular moment, Paul gets this intuitive thought to quite literally let go and release fear in this moment. In a moment where it's like, I don't know about letting go here, folks, kind of thing. But he gets this intuitive thought to do it. And so, he does it. And his mother, Lady Jessica, who's also consumed by fear in the moment, she looks over at him and seeing what's going on. And then she just has to start, her mantra again to let go of the fear. And they end up being fine, but it's because he listened to that intuitive hit, and it overrode the fear. So those two scenes really stuck out to me, and it's all about listening to your inner voice, trusting that you are being guided, and just demystify fear. And now y'all are wondering, okay, what does this have to do with you and your life, Kiara? And honestly, I'm just in this flow state of life right now. I think it's an up and down experience, but I'm letting go of the control and the fear of things looking a certain way. Trusting that I'm being taken care of, and trusting that there is an unlimited amount of love around me. Because I was telling my cousin this the other day, trying to apply old ways of the past to moments now in the present doesn't always match up. It's like things that I used to do that worked when I was 18 or 20 or 23, whatever, don't really work for what it is that I'm doing right now, because I'm different. I have had different experiences. I'm at a different level of my life. I'm experiencing such new, endeavors and moments that, yes, the stuff from my past has helped me grow, but the things that that maybe helped me get to one point back then, it doesn't necessarily apply to now. So me trying to force, like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this? It's because I'm in a new point of my life. So therefore, I have to have a new approach. And the old approach just simply, it doesn't work right now for this point in time in my life. And staying open to, okay, all right, I don't know it all. Let's learn, let's relearn, let's get to a point where it makes sense for where I'm at right now. And of course, because I'm a human, I'll have these moments of fear and have to choose, which path am I gonna ride on. And I can either ride out, a reality in which I believe in fear and live that out, or I can choose to demystify with all the ample evidence around me showing that I am supported, safe, protected, and then live out that reality. It's the whole red pill, blue pill moment. And let's talk about the using the voice, because I think it's just such a wicked cool thing to put in a movie or a concept. The power in the movie that it conducts is so intense. And as of late, I've had some experiences where I had to use my own version of the voice. And I had an event, okay, where I was getting dressed for a particular thing. And let me just give some context too. Coming from the modeling industry and the fashion background, my specific experience and what I notice as a Black woman within these fashion spaces is that, at least me, I get ultra masculated in fashion. Like, it's immediately like, how can we put her in, the more masculine looks than the feminine? And they just put you in this category of androgynous rather than allowing, to play in femininity. And, like I said, this was definitely my experience. I've been told, oh, you got a cool urban street look, so let's put you in sneakers, or let's put you in a jumpsuit, or you know what I mean? Meanwhile, Becky and Ashley are in the fashion runway show with me, but they get, the dresses and the really pretty, glitzy, diamondy thing, but I'm the only person without heels and walking in sneakers and stuff because, oh, she's urban. She's, exotic looking. And look, I'll say, when I was younger, I didn't have much power with my voice at all. And in modeling, it's honestly just hard to speak up. Things happen all the time that are terrible because there's no one to report it to. I don't know if y'all knew this, but there's no union for models. Absolutely nothing. Can't report a thing. You're a free agent at the hands of these employers. And they have so much power over you because of that uneven, unbalanced power dynamic that's happening. So you can't really say, oh, I'm not comfortable wearing this, because they go, okay, then leave. And they hire someone else for the job that will be okay with it, because guess what? You got rent to pay, period. So now that I'm in my acting career and have more say in how I want to present, I am actively choosing to be seen in a more feminine light, because that's what makes me feel best and most comfortable. All to say, when I was at this particular fitting, there was a woman that one wasn't giving me the time of day, and she was just really short. And what I was gathering from that, she just didn't see the value in me because she didn't know who I was, which is fine, whatever. In years previous, I would have felt really insecure about that. But because I know who I am and I'm confident in who I am, I didn't let it bother me. In fact, She was a lot more chaotic in energy, and I was just very calm, So we walk into this room. I see there's 2 racks. One rack is looking pretty bleak. Not a lot of options to select from. And then there's this other rack with some other styles that maybe I'd go towards. And so she keeps pulling from this bleak rack, and it's got more of these eccentric patterns, more masculine, maybe even sporty kind of thing vibe going. And she keeps trying to hand me these options to try on. But instead, I'm keeping my hands in my pockets. There's like something physically, I could not grab any of the items she was giving me because it didn't align. And, she keeps going, oh, you got this cool look with the braids. It's so edgy and sporty, so you can wear this. And when I tell you, it felt so uncomfortable and hard to tell her no, because I've been put in plenty of situations where I didn't get a choice, or I would be viewed as the diva or the loud black girl, all for saying no and utilizing my choice. But, I said, you know what? I'm going to stick to my voice, because I knew if I went to this event, I would feel so uncomfortable if I didn't feel good in what I was wearing. So, I just said, well, hey, is this the only thing that's out and available on this rack? And she goes, yeah. And so I go, well, maybe I can mix one of these sporty tops with a dressier bottom. You have something I could look at for that? And she goes, oh, no, we can't mix. It's either full sporty or full. And I catch her. And I go, or the full dressier designer look. And I just see her face change, and she is like mad. Okay. And she goes, yeah, I guess I can go pull some options. So I'm like, okay, great. I'll be here. So, she comes back, and of course there's suit options. And don't get me wrong, I love a nice suit moment every once in a while, but folks just have a hard time. Just bring me the dresses, bring me the skirts, right? It's like, why do we? Anyway, but I thought, you know what? These are better than what the other looks were. Let's see. I put them on, kind of like, she asked how I'm feeling the looks. I just said, hey, I would like to look at more options. She gets frustrated. So she passes me off to a different stylist. And, honestly, I'm so glad I stuck to my voice. Despite the energy she was giving me, I was still respectful, still nice. I was grounded. But intuitively, I knew to just, don't accept anything less. And I'm so glad, because it ended up working out amazing. I told this new person how I was feeling, and he fully supported, and all of a sudden I had all the dress options, all the skirt options. I'm like, okay, so where were these? And I ended up going to this event feeling absolutely beautiful. I looked like a freaking princess. And in the moment when we were fitting, I had to share with him. I just said, hey, like, I feel like we don't share the good thoughts with people enough. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much for being present with me and caring. You made me feel so safe and heard and absolutely beautiful. And we just had this nice moment. And he goes, I love what I do. And I said, you can tell. You can tell you love what you do. And so using the power of your voice to stand up for yourself moves mountains. And it doesn't mean that you need to be rude or need to raise your voice. It's really about being confident and absolute in who you are and what you want to represent and or be. And how others feel about that is their own prerogative. Right? It's their own prerogative. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your job to explain or to break stuff down for. Not everyone needs to like you. But you sure do need to love yourself, period. So the theory of the week is letting your voice be the deciding factor of who you are will keep dismay at bay. That's a rhyme. Okay. Thanks again for listening to today's episode. I am so glad. It's nice to be able to have real life experiences and get on here and just share with you guys, and you listen, and it means a lot. And I had a lot of fun, geeking out about Dune and such. So if you haven't watched that, watch that movie. If you're into sci-fi, into the spiritual realm, it's a deep movie. You just got to pay attention. Okay, anyway, remember, folks, tonight, all new episode of Fantasy Island, 8/7 Central on Fox, and then next day on Hulu. So I shall see you there. Okay, love you. Bye.